Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Genius and Found Out the Secret, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more, comment down below, and share. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Chunin exams. 2 weeks later. Once Team 7 got back from the wave, Naruto had been taken directly to the hospital for a week of intensive physiological treatment. Naruto's condition had slowly improved, and about the end of the week, Naruto woke up for the first time. The hospital staff didn't want him in there any longer than absolutely necessary, so they falsified Naruto's files and discharged him several hours after he woke up. After Naruto woke up, he was requested to immediately come to the Hokage's office. Once there, the Hokage told Naruto that he would not be allowed to leave the village for several weeks until they confirmed his mental stability. Naruto was left to attend regular team training, so he walked with Sasuke to the training area. To their surprise, Kakashi was there waiting for them. He smiled at him, in particular, Naruto. "How are you feeling, Naruto?" ? Naruto's face was blank when he answered. "Okay, I guess." Kakashi nodded, pulling out 3 slips of paper and handing it to them. Naruto looked at it. "Chunin exam?" Kakashi nodded. "I think all 3 of you are ready for it. Remember, take care of yourselves. As a final note, entry is voluntary. If you want to enter, sign it and turn up to room 301 tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Catch you round." With that, Kakashi puffed out of existence, leaving Team 7 to sort out what to do. 6:30 a.m. next morning. Team 7 met up outside the academy and walked in. They pushed through a throng of other Chunin hopefuls to the front and stared at the spectacle. Sasuke smirked. "What kind of corny genjutsu is this? This is floor 2. Move." The 2 people guarding room 301 smiled. "Seems one team is up to scratch. Yup, this is a genjutsu." The sign above the door swirled to reveal it was indeed 201. Sasuke gave his usual confident smirk. "Naruto, Sakura, you both noticed it too, right?" They both nodded. One of the Chuninans guarding the door smiled. "Then let's see if you notice this." The Chunin and Sasuke went to kick, however, Naruto charged in and grabbed the Chunin, hurling him against the wall with a look of pure rage on his face. "Try that again, team, and I'll kill you." Everyone backed off as Team 7 walked past, up the next set of stairs to the 3rd floor. When they were there, they heard a shout from behind them. "Oi, you with the blonde hair. Wait." Naruto stopped and saw a green spandex wearing boy with a bowl cut and super eyebrows. The boy flipped over the railing and landed on the floor with them. "I am Rock Lee. I would like to know who you are." "Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto." Lee smiled. "Would you like to fight?" Naruto stopped breathing. He turned around and continued walking. Lee had no clue what was going on. "Are you running?" Naruto stopped. "If you value your life, then leave. If we fight, I may be unable to control myself. If that happens, I can guarantee your death." Sasuke nodded. "I'd take his advice. I've seen what he can do. He's out of your league." Lee left to go back to his teammates while Team 7 walked up to the door to see Kakashi standing there. He smiled at them in that infuriatingly laid-back fashion. "Good to see you're all here. Since all 3 of you turned up, I can let you in." Sakura raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean, Kakashi-sensei?" "If one of you had not come, I would have had to turn the other 2 away, as this can only be taken in 3-man cells. Since all 3 of you are here, you can go. I wish you luck." With that, they ped Kakashi and pushed open the door. What they saw they didn't expect. Over 100 people staring at them. As they walked in the door, they heard a squeal as a shock of platinum blonde hair in purple clothing attached itself to Sasuke. Sasuke immediately growled. "Get off me." Ino got off Sasuke as she saw the look on his face. She could tell he really didn't want to be bothered right now. The rest of Ino's team made their way over. They nodded at each other. However, the resident loudmouth of their year decided yelling would be a good idea. "Yahoo! Found you." Kiba and his teammates Shino and Hinata stood behind him. Hinata was concerned at the look on her crush's face. Naruto-kun ? Are you alright ? Naruto nodded his head slowly. At that point, a silver-haired bespectacled man came over. He had a Konoha symbol on his forehead. You guys should probably be aware of your surroundings. Take a look around you. They did so, seeing that people were glaring at them with hatred. They turned back to Kabuto. Maybe I should give my cute Underman some information, then. Kabuto reached back into his bag and pulled out a stack of orange cards. He put the top one on the ground and began spinning it with his finger. He released a bit of chakra and the blank card let off a small amount of smoke to reveal a three-dimensional world map and bar graph. Kabuto looked up at them. Each country has sent participants to the exams this year. This gives a breakdown of how many from each country are attending. The newest village is the village of Oto. They only have 3 entrants and they're a small village, so I don't have much information on them. At this point, Kabuto became aware of 3 people rushing out of the crowd to attack him. One of them threw 2 kunais at him while another appeared right in front of him and struck at his face, however he missed. Kabuto smiled. You seem to have missed. The bandaged guy smiled. Really ? At that point, Kabuto's glass cracked and he coughed up blood. Naruto's mind was still fresh with the scene of carnage back at the wave, and he began quivering. Kinda like Tsunade when she first appears. Sasuke turned to Naruto and pulled out a jar that the medical staff had given him in case Naruto relapsed again. The sound Nins laughed. He suffers that much from seeing a bit of blood ? What a weakling. Sasuke glared at him. I'm sure you've heard the rumors of the Maker at the wave 2 weeks ago ? They nodded. Naruto was there to witness it firsthand. Trust me, the rumors don't do the Maker justice. The sound Nin with the head guard looked at Naruto. So, you survived that ? You're lucky. Sasuke shook his head. Would you consider him lucky if he was the one who? Naruto cut him off. Sasuke, don't. Sasuke nodded and shut up. He decided to pop the top of the jar off and pulled one of the dark brown pellets out. Naruto, please eat this. It should lessen the backlash. Naruto ate it before finally calming himself after 20 or so seconds, slowly stopping his shivering. At that point, there was an explosion of smoke in the front of the room. Everyone turned to see the smoke clear, revealing a man in a black trench coat with a line of men and women in gray jumpsuits. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm the Chunin exam's first examiner, Morino Ibiki. Ibiki leveled his finger at the tree from Oto. You 3 from the hidden village of Oto. Don't think you can do anything you want before the exam. Do you want us to fail you already ? The bandaged one turned to Ibiki. My apologies. I was excited since this was my first exam. Ibiki smirked as he surveyed the genin in the room. This is a good chance to say this. You are not allowed to fight anyone without the permission of the examiners. If permission is given, depending on the situation, you may or may not be allowed to kill your opponent. Pigs who go against me will be failed immediately. Understood ? The genins didn't say a word, which Ibiki took as a yes. Ibiki smiled coldly at them. We will now begin the first test of the Chunin exam. Turn in your applications and take one of these number tags. Sit where the number tells you. Then we will pee out papers for the written exam. The Chunin next to Ibiki put a stack of papers on the desk and started putting them face down. Once everyone had taken the place, Ibiki tapped the chalk on the board. This exam has several important rules. Listen up, because I'm only saying these once and I will not accept questions. First rule, you are all given 10 points at the start. Unlike regular tests, this test is a subtraction test. For each question you do not answer or answer incorrectly, you lose 1 point. Each question is worth 1 point and there are 10 questions. If you answer 3 incorrectly, you lose 3 points, leaving you with 7. Rule 2. The P-fail decision is determined by your team's total points. Sakura slammed her head on the desk and began protesting. Shut up. I said to not interfere. There is a reason for this, so shut up and listen. Now that you know about that rule, let's move on to the next one. If one of the examiers catches you doing any sort of suspicious activities like cheating, they will mark you down by 2 points. In other words, there will be those who are forced to leave this place before their tests are graded. Those who try to cheat without thinking carefully will only hurt themselves. One of the Chunin lowered his head to hide his sneer. We'll check you at any time. You are all trying to become Chunin. If you are a ninja, act like a first-rate one. Finally, if anyone in a team gets 0, they and their teammates will be failed immediately. People began muttering amongst themselves, but Ibiki quietened them. The last question will be given 45 minutes after the exam begins. You have 1 hour for this exam. Begin. Not a single student failed to comply. Naruto looked at the paper in amusement. I can't answer a single damn one of these questions. These aren't even Chunin level questions. QB question mark any ideas question mark. Naruto had only just recently started talking to QB again after he apologized for his behavior in the wave. Somewhere HW, letting QB control Naruto had opened a telepathic link of sorts that let them communicate without entering the subconscious mind. I may not understand the questions themselves, but I understand the idea the questions are trying to get across. Tap the signal for Sasuke to copy you. Naruto tapped his pencil on the table 7 times, indicating Sasuke to use his Sharingan on Naruto. Sasuke immediately activated his Sharingan and copied Naruto's movements, which stopped at odd intervals before resuming. Sakura was fine answering the questions by herself, and they all finished at about the same time. Once they had finished, Naruto tapped the pencil on the table 3 times, indicating to watch each other's backs for cheating attempts. Naruto was the first one to notice one directed at Sakura from Ino, who had obviously been waiting for Sakura to finish. Naruto tapped once, indicating Sakura was under attack, so to speak. Sakura, accidentally, dropped her pencil on the floor, leaning down just as Ino's projected mind would have struck her body. Since Sakura wasn't there, Ino's mind passed her seat and shot out the window, not to return for several minutes. Sakura picked up her pencil and tapped once to indicate she was okay. There was only a minute left until the final question was given. When that minute was up, Ibiki addressed them. I will now give the 10th problem. Oh, but before that, there's one thing I must say. There will be a special rule for this last question. Just then, the door opened and Kankuro came back in. You're just in time. I trust your playing with dolls was beneficial question mark. Kankuro said nothing as he walked past his blonde-haired teammate, expertly dropping a rolled-up piece of paper onto her desk before he took his seat. I will now explain. This is a hopless rule. The first part of that rule is whether you want to take the question or not. Temari called out to Ibiki. Choose not to take it question mark what if we decline question mark. Then I will reduce you and your team's points to 0, failing you immediately. This caused a stir in the genin, which Ibiki promptly put a stop to. If you don't shut up, I'll fail you all right here and now. That was the first part of the rule. The second part is, if you decide to take it and answer it incorrectly, you will be refused entry to all future Chunin exams. Kiba pointed a finger at Ibiki. What kind of a stupid rule is that question mark there are those here who've failed before. Ibiki laughed coldly. Unfortunately for you, this is my first time as an examiner. The other times, the rules were different. However, while you're in my exam, you will submit to my rules or get out. Those who are not confident in themselves, I have been kind enough to give the option of leaving with minimal consequences, and take the exam next year or the year after that. Ibiki let this sink in, before continuing. Let's begin. Those who do not feel confident, raise your hand. After we have confirmed your numbers, you will be required to leave. After about a minute, someone finally cracked and raised their hand. It was the guy right next to Naruto. I won't take it. I quit. Number 50, fail. Number 130 and 111 fail along with him. This set off a chain reaction, with over a quarter of the remaining people's hands being raised. After a while, people stopped raising their hands. Ibiki looked over the rest. The rest of them either showed no emotions on their face, or they showed pure confidence. Ibiki realized this wasn't going to get any further, and so smiled at them. Well then the rest of you. People had no idea how to respond. Naturally, Sakura was the first to respond. Wait, what's the meaning of this? What happened to the 10th question question mark? Ibiki laughed light-heartedly. There was no such thing to begin with. However, if you really want to believe there was a 10th question, I guess you could call the take or not take decision the 10th question. Temari was next to question. Then the first 9 questions were useless. Abiki smiled. Were they ? No, they served their purpose. The first 9 questions tested your information gathering skills. First, this test's purpose lies in the first rule. Your P-fail decision os based on your 3-person teams. By giving you that idea, we were placing a huge load of pressure onto each of you to not let your teams down. As the majority of you noticed almost straight away, these are not Genin-level questions, and some of them are not even Chunin-level questions. So the majority of people must have come to the conclusion that you had to cheat to get the answers. Naruto sighed and thought, I wonder if consulting a 4,000-year-old demon is considered cheating. Therefore, this test was made with the idea in mind that each and every one of you were going to cheat. So we snuck 2 Chunins in who knew the answers to be the target of cheating. Naturally, those who cheated poorly were failed. At this point, Abiki began undoing his Hitai 8 which covered the top of his head. Naruto knew what was coming and looked away, stopping himself from relapsing. Everyone else looked at Abiki in horror. Abiki continued his explanation. Why ? Information can have a greater value than life sometimes, and in missions and battlefields, information is contested for with people's lives. The information that an enemy gets after being noticed by a third person will not entirely be accurate. Remember this. Getting incorrect information can cause great damage to your teammates and your village. So we all made you gather information in the form of cheating. We kicked out those that were lacking in that field. That's what the first 9 questions were about. Temari apparently still wasn't satisfied. Then what about the last question ? The 10th question is the main part of this test. Let me explain. The 10th question was a take or not take choice. Needless to say, it was a painful 2-choice problem. Those who did not take it failed the entire exam along with their team. If you did take it and got it wrong, you had your right to take the Chunin exam permanently revoked. It was a very insincere problem. Let me put this problem into a real-life situation. Let's assume that you have become Chunin. Your mission is to capture a secret document. The number of enemy ninja, their abilities and armaments are unknown, as well as the fact that the enemy ninja may have set traps for you. Now, will you accept this mission or not ? Just because your life and the lives of your teammates are on the line, are you able to avoid dangerous missions ? The answer is, no. There are missions that will carry heavy risks that you will be unable to avoid. The ability to show your courage to your teammates when needed, and the ability to get through a bad situation. That is what we look for in a Chunin, a squad leader. Those who cannot bet their lives in a critical situation, those who give up when given the chance because there is a next year, and let their minds sway over an uncertain future, do not deserve the right to wear a Chunin jacket. That is what I believe. I am saying that those of you here who have chosen to take it have given the correct answer to the difficult 10th question. You will be able to deal with the difficulties a Chunin must face. You have broken through the entrance. Congratulations on ping the first test. I wish you all luck. At that point, a giant black ball smashed through the window, before unfurling itself, with 2 kunai driving into the roof to reveal. Everyone. There's no time to be happy. I am the second examiner, Mitarashi Anko. Everyone looked at her as if she were an alien. Behind her, the black piece of cloth read, the second examiner, Mitarashi Anko is here. Anko wore a very short brown mini-skirt with fishnet leggings that went halfway down her thighs. She wore a beige trek coat and a fishnet shirt underneath that left practically nothing to the imagination. She wore metal greaves and black sandals. She had purple hair that was pulled back into a very Shikamaru-like pineapple hairstyle. Let's go to the next exam. Follow me. Abiki came out from behind the piece of cloth. Grasp the atmosphere before you barge in here. Anko looked over the remaining genin. 78 genin ? The first test was too soft this year, Abiki. Abiki shook his head. No, they're all exceptional genin. This year's crop is something far out of the ordinary. Anko looked at them with a sadistic smile on her face. It doesn't matter. By the time I'm through with them, less than half will remain. We will begin tomorrow. Ask your Junin instructors about the rally point and time, as it won't be here. That is all. Dismissed. Next morning, at Training Area 44, aka Forest of Death. Everyone was standing out the front of the Forest of Death as Anko introduced it to them. This is Training Area 44, also known as the Forest of Death. Before we start, I need you to sign these forms. Naruto took one look at them and began shaking as he tried to fight off the feeling of bloodlust. Consent forms. People are going to die. Anko nodded and smiled. Scared? Sasuke body flickered and slapped a hand over her mouth, whispering just loud enough for her to hear. If you value your life, don't taunt him now. He's not quivering from fear. He's trying to suppress the insatiable bloodlust from it. With that, Sasuke body flickered back beside Naruto, putting a hand on his shoulder, which calmed Naruto somewhat. Anko knew exactly what Sasuke had been talking about and decided it would be a good idea to leave Naruto alone right now. She turned back to the others. That's right, people will die. These forms mean you acknowledge you will die and that it is your own responsibility should it happen. I will now explain how the second test works. This test is a survival test. First, I'll explain the training area's geographical features. Anko pulled out a scroll and let it open, revealing a map of the training ground. Training Area 44 is a circular training ground that is surrounded by 44 locked gates. The vast majority of the area is forest. However, running through the middle of the area is a river, and in the dead center is a tower. The tower is located almost 10 kilometers from any gate. Within this confined space, you will have a no-holds-barred fight for these. Anko rolled the scroll back up and put it back in her trench coat, before pulling out a set of scrolls. There was a blue scroll labeled Earth, and a white scroll labeled Heaven. For every 3 consent forms handed in, you will receive 1 scroll. In other words, each team will get a single scroll. Which one you get will be decided at random. The aim of this test is to obtain a Heaven scroll and an Earth scroll and make it to the center tower with your teammates within the time limit, which is 120 hours, or 5 days. Chuji looked horrified. 5 days? What about food? Anko smiled. The forest is a treasure trove of nature. You just have to know where to look. Kabuto smiled as he pushed his glaze up the bridge of his nose. Also, there are man-eating beasts, poisonous plants and animals to deal with. Chuji slumped. You've got to be kidding me. Anko put the scrolls back where she got them from. People will be hurt during the fights for the scrolls, and those who cannot bear the program's strictness will emerge as well. Shikamaru held up a hand. Are we allowed to quit during the exam? Anko turned to Shikamaru. As a rule, you are not allowed to give up during the exam. You will spend the full 5 days in the forest. Anko looked around at the genin teams. While we're on the topic, I should tell you what can fail you in this exam. Anko held up her index finger in a bored fashion. First, if a team cannot bring both scrolls and all 3 teammates to the tower before the 5 days is up, you will fail. Anko unfurled another finger from her closed fist. Second, any team who loses a teammate or produces an unrecoverable teammate will also be failed. Just as a note, you are not allowed to open the scrolls until you reach the tower. Sakura looked interested and spoke her mind. What if we do? Anko smiled. That's a surprise for those of you who open it. If you become Chunin, you will be expected to handle top secret documents. It's to determine your reliability. That's it for the explanation. We will exchange the consent forms for a scroll at that booth over there. Anko pointed to a booth where 3 Chunin in grey outfits sat. AFTR, we have chosen your gate entrance. Everyone will begin at the same time. Anko sighed. As a final piece of advice, don't die. They split off into their teams to sign their forms and finalize any plans they had. With Team 7, they were discussing how to identify themselves should they be separated and someone else tries to pose as them. Naruto already had a few ideas. I can release a small bit of it. There is not one other person in the world who can copy that. Sasuke nodded. I can activate my Sharingan and copy your movements. Only 2 other people can do that, and neither of them are here. They turned to Sakura, who was thinking. Naruto sighed. Just say something that only we would remember. Sakura looked up. Like what? Naruto thought for a second. Like the name of our combo we used against Zabuza, or the name of Kakashi-sensei's ultimate taijutsu move. Sakura nodded. They signed their forms and stepped up to wait for their scrolls. The Chunins at the booth put a curtain across to stop others from seeing what each team gets and who has it. They called out. We will begin accepting the consent forms now. Team 7 were the first in. They were given the Heaven Scroll and ignited to Gate 12. Once they were there, they waited until the Chunin ignited to the gate opened it and checked his watch. He threw the gates open and Team 7 charged into the forest, which gladly swallowed him up. About half an hour later, they were sitting in a clearing, eating a few of the rations they had brought with them. Naruto jumped out of the way as a piece of bark flew right past where his head was less than a second ago. Naruto motioned to Sasuke and Sakura to get behind the tree. They didn't do it a second too soon either, as a giant gust of wind ripped past them, and would have blown them into the forest. The strange team from the GR stood at the end of the little alleyway formed by the trees. The lead one spoke. "You two go have fun somewhere else. I'll sort this out." Team 7 came out of the bushes to see a very feminine-looking man in a sacket. He looked at them in interest. "You have great detection skills. You never let your guard down. Seems I can have more fun than expected." The man used his very snake-like tongue to lick his lips. He pulled his scroll of earth out from his pack. "You want our scroll of earth, right? Since you three have the scroll of heaven." The GR Nin pulled the scroll up to his mouth and wrapped his tongue around it, before swallowing it whole. Team 7 stared at the man in disbelief. "Now, let's begin the fight for our scrolls. By putting our lives on the line." The GR Nin pulled his lower eyelid down. QB knew exactly what was going to happen. "KIT. Shut your eyes now." Naruto shut his eyes just as the GR Nin unleashed his technique. Naruto felt Sasuke and Sakura fall to the ground and he opened his eyes. That wasn't a normal Kaneshibari no Jutsu. Normally, only a few Tokubutsu Junin and Anbu can perform that technique, and only then give off an intent to kill. You're not a genin. In fact, due to the effects of it on Sasuke and Sakura, it seems you actually imprinted them with an image of their own deaths. I'd be willing to say you're one of the former Sannin, Orochimaru. The GR Nin looked at Naruto. "You are correct, Naruto-kun. I am indeed Orochimaru." Naruto began trembling. He knew he'd have to face Orochimaru eventually, but he never in his wildest dream expected to face him so soon. At Naruto's current level, Orochimaru could kill him without breaking a sweat. I can't die. Not yet. Orochimaru threw 3 kunais at them. Naruto and Sasuke tried desperately to break out of the body freeze to escape. Eventually, Sasuke and Naruto managed to pull out a kunai and stab themselves to make their mind focus on the physical pain, which let them gather Sakura and flee just before the kunai would have hit them in the center of the forehead. Orochimaru smiled. "I see." Sasuke and Naruto leaned up against a tree while Sakura looked at them, still recovering from the last traces of the Kaneshibari no Jutsu wore off. Sakura gasped when they both simultaneously yanked the kunais out of their legs. Naruto motioned Sasuke to look one way while Naruto looked the other. Sakura could tell by the utter seriousness on their faces that this man was not a genin with a few unusual jutsus. This man could end their life at his leisure. Back with Orochimaru, he was analyzing what exactly they had done. How surprising. They got rid of the fear with pain. They are by no means normal prey. With that, Orochimaru went off after them. Sakura was trying to ask if her teammates were all right, but they just clamped a hand over her mouth. They were trying to think of how to escape. However, Naruto screamed out a warning. "Sasuke! Sakura! Hebi!" They turned around and jumped out of the way as a giant brown snake clamped down around the tree trunk they were previously seated on. The snake went for Naruto, who could clearly sense Orochimaru's chakra coming from the snake. "Don't come near me, you snake freak." Naruto threw 2 handfuls of shuriken at the snake, who coppered them full in the face. It hissed in pain and slammed into the ground, dead. All 3 of them saw a crack appear in the snake's skin and Orochimaru emerged from it. You really never do let your guard down. Prey needs to strain their minds all the time and run around. In th presence of a predator. Orochimaru somehow managed to extend his torso so he could wrap around the tree and go for Naruto. However, he was stopped by a hail of shuriken and kunai from Sasuke's direction. "If you want to try and kill my Ototo, then you have to try me first." Orochimaru looked at Sasuke. "Very well, Sasuke-kun." Orochimaru retreated back to his body and went after Sasuke, however, again he was stopped by a barrage of kunai and shuriken. "If you want to kill my Nizen, then you have to kill me first." Orochimaru sighed and plotted his next move. Naruto smiled. "Going with your prey Theme: even if we were to give you a replacement for our lives, namely the scroll, I highly doubt that the scroll is your objective. What do you want with this question mark? Orochimaru laughed. You are indeed sharp, Naruto-kun. I am not here to take this petty chunin exam. I'm here for a very different reason. And what would that be question mark? Why don't we find out question mark? Naruto nodded to Sasuke and they both charged at Orochimaru. Orochimaru bit his thumb and wiped it down, a tattoo on his forearm. Naruto knew what that was. That's Kuchio's no jutsu. Orochimaru was surrounded by a large cloud of smoke from which burst a giant snake with Orochimaru on top of it. The snake slapped both of them away with its tail. Both of them slammed through a branch before hitting a much thicker branch with a resounding thunk. As they both plummeted back to earth, Orochimaru laughed. Eat them. However, they both opened their eyes. Both of their eyes were different. Naruto's were blood red instead of cerulean blue. Sasuke's were also blood red instead of the normal obsidian black. Naruto and Sasuke both landed and gave the snake a mive punch, making the snake buckle under the power of the impact. Naruto and Sasuke continued their endless combo of beast-like punches and kicks, ripping the terrain up as they did. Most of it was done by Naruto, however, their attacks were so well timed that it was impossible to tell to others. They both back-flipped off the snake and landed next to Sakura. The snake came back and whipped its tail at them. They didn't have time to take Sakura with them, so they could only hope she managed to avoid it. Luckily, she dodged the tail by mere meters. Naruto and Sasuke stood side by side, panting heavily. Orochimaru looked at them. What will you do question mark? You know you cannot win. How about I pick you off one at a time question mark? Sasuke sneered. Don't you dare. I don't care what you do to anyone else, but if you lay a finger on Naruto, I'll kill you. Naruto growled. I don't care what you do to Konoha. Burn it, kill everyone in it, it doesn't matter as long as you leave Sasuke alone, I'll let you live. Orochimaru's eyes widened in surprise. Originally, he only planned on marking Sasuke, but Naruto's personality made him a perfect potential applicant. Orochimaru smiled. Well then, show me it's worth letting you live. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Let's get the snake bastard. They both charged at him, before splitting off and coming at him from both sides. Orochimaru body flickered out of the way, leaving Naruto and Sasuke to do a 180 and press their backs to each other's. Orochimaru body flickered all over the place, but Naruto and Sasuke kept up with his movements. They both dodged as Orochimaru slammed into the trunk they were just standing on, snapping it like a twig. Sasuke unleashed a Kaiten, Gukakyu no Jutsu, while Naruto unleashed a wave of chakra at Orochimaru, effectively pinning him from both sides. Orochimaru came out of the fire and challenged Sasuke, who dodged the attack and stood ready. Orochimaru unleashed a wave of chakra like Naruto had, but Sasuke jumped out of the way again. Sasuke jumped up and attached himself to a branch upside down which Naruto mirrored. They both launched themselves at Orochimaru, grabbing him. Sasuke from behind and Naruto from in front. They dragged him off the branch and prepared for a combo brain smasher. Orochimaru screamed on the way down, while Naruto and Sasuke screamed back, but with words. We've got you. They slammed Orochimaru into the branch with such force that he shattered through it and kept going to the next one. This time, however, the branch held from the impact, splintering and almost absorbing Orochimaru's head. They both jumped off and landed on opposite sides of him. What they didn't expect was that Orochimaru was actually a mud buncheon. They watched as the body turned to mud and fall into a pile of goop on the tree branch. They dodged the blizzard of kunai and jumped off the branch. Sasuke brought out some ninja wire to aid his descent, while Naruto attached his feet to the side of the tree and followed Sasuke, landing on another branch. However, they were caught off guard when Orochimaru attacked from behind with taijutsu, landing a combo on both of them at the same time before kicking them to the ground. Pathetic. You're not living up to your family names. Naruto smiled. Really question mark. Just then, some explosive notes that they had attached to Orochimaru's back exploded, propelling him forward. Naruto looked at Sasuke and nodded. They both announced their plan in unison. Combo time. Sasuke nodded and prepared for the new part of the combo he and Naruto had developed for forest warfare. Naruto formed the hand seal for his favorite technique. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 5 clones of Naruto appeared, and charged forward. Orochimaru was still recovering from the unexpected explosive notes, so he didn't get a chance to defend against Naruto's clones. They kicked him up into the air, beginning the combo. Yuzu Maki. The clones kicked Orochimaru up to the required height and Orochimaru looked down at the clones in interest. They smiled back up at him. We're not what you should be concentrating on. Orochimaru looked around to see the real Naruto flying through the air and colliding with him head-on in the gut, sending him flying back against the trunk of a tree. Naruto. Just as Orochimaru started recovering, he saw a set of shuriken fly past him with wires attached to them. Orochimaru noticed what they were. These are Sharingan-controlled triple windmill blades. They surrounded Orochimaru and Sasuke expertly controlled them to fasten his target to the trunk of the tree. Sasuke formed the seals for the final part of the combo. Ryuka Renden. The flames gathered around Sasuke before flying towards Orochimaru. They plowed into him, burning his face and upper body. The flames were so powerful that they continued through the tree and out into the forest. They could all hear Orochimaru scream in agony. Eventually, Sasuke let up and breathed heavily as Naruto landed beside him. Sakura ran down and greeted them. Sasuke-kun. Naruto. You did it. Sakura saw them both panting hard and she became concerned. Are you okay? Hang in there. They were too busy to notice that Orochimaru had freed himself and had used Kaneshibari no Jutsu on them, freezing them in place. Orochimaru called to them from across the clearing. I'm surprised you can use the Sharingan so well at your age, Sasuke-kun. I'm also surprised at how well you can tap into the Kyuubi's chakra reserves, Naruto-kun. You both live up to your family names. I want you after all. Orochimaru pulled his hand away from his head to reveal that he was actually wearing a sound Hittite. Sasuke-kun, you and Itachi are definitely brothers. Your eyes say that you carry more potential than Itachi. Naruto-kun, you are definitely your father's son. You have the potential to usurp him. Orochimaru pulled out their heaven scroll and burnt it with a fire of green chakra. If you want to see me again, then get through this exam as if your life depended on it. That means you must defeat my 3 sound ninja subordinates. Sakura decided to back-chat him. What are you blabbering about? We never want to see your face again. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Orochimaru formed a strange hand seal and his neck extended towards the group. First, it went for Sasuke and bit down on his neck. Once Orochimaru had delivered his toxic payload, he bit down on Naruto's neck, leaving the same mark. He withdrew his neck back to normal size and watched as Sasuke and Naruto started screaming in agony and clutching their necks. Sakura turned to Orochimaru in horror. What did you do to them? I gave them a little going away present. Sasuke-kun and Naruto-kun will seek me for power. It was fun being able to see a lot of your moves. Orochimaru melted into the tree branch, leaving Naruto and Sasuke to scream and writhe in agony. Sakura had no idea what was going on. Sakura watched as both of them finally fell unconscious, leaving Sakura alone to defend herself and her teammates. Next morning, Sakura awoke with a start when she realized she had been sleeping. She saw that both her teammates were struggling with their unconscious battles. Sakura snapped her head up when she felt something running at her. She saw it was a squirrel. Smiling, she watched the squirrel run towards her. She became alert and threw a kunai at the squirrel to stop its advance. That was far too close. Unknown to her, the 3 from the sound were watching this observantly from the scrub nearby. Oh, she's an observant one. She noticed the explosive tag ? No, that's not it. Then what was it ? Let's find out now, shall we ? With that, the 3 jumped out of the bushes and landed on the other side of the clearing from Sakura. Sakura recognized them as the team from the sound. What do you 3 want ? We're here to see Sasuke-kun and Naruto-kun. We want to fight them. Be a good girl and wake him up for us. How could you want to fight them ? Some weird guy called Orochimaru bit them and put this weird bruise on their necks. They stared in shock at Sakura, but the tallest one cracked his knuckles. Well then, I'll just have to kill this girl and wait for them to wake up. The other boy on their team held up his arm. Wait, Zaku. What's wrong, Dosu ? Dosu walked forward and stopped at a patch of ground that would be no different to anyone who wasn't looking. A recently overturned stone, different colored dirt. GR doesn't grow here. This is obviously a booby trap. And a very poorly made one at that. Frankly, you have no skill as a ninja. PFFT, how stupid. Since we have no use for this girl. Sakura readied herself. Kill her. With that, the three sound nins jumped at Sakura, who just smirked and cut a wire string she had been sitting in front of. The three from the sound looked up to see a giant log attached to a rope crash through the canopy and right towards them. Dosu just smirked and put his hand on the log and shattered it. Pathetic. People like you should work harder before you mess with guys like us. Sakura just sighed and waited for the end. However, one green spandex wearing ninja had seen this whole engagement and decided to intervene at that point in time. Konoha Senpu. Lee smiled as he sent the three from the sound flying back before taking his personalized taijutsu fighting stance, with the squirrel that the explosive tag had been strapped on his shoulder. Then you guys should aslo work harder. Who are you? I am Konoha's beautiful green beast, Rock Lee. Sakura mumbled. Why are you here? I will always appear when you are in trouble. Lee put the squirrel on the ground and watched it scamper off. Well, thank you, you saved me. I said it before. Sakura wondered what that meant. I would protect you until I die. Lee smiled to himself for his small victory. Yes, I'm awesome, Guy-sensei. Dosu was the first interaction. I'll take care of them. With that said, Dosu ran at Lee. Lee plunged his hand into the ground as Dosu leapt into the air to try and gain the advantage of added weight to his attack gained by the momentum of falling. Lee pulled out one of the tree's roots to form a shield for himself and Sakura. There's some sort of trick to your attacks, right? I'm not going to take them head on. Even so, 3-on-1 is a severe disadvantage. I have no choice but to take all three out one at a time with full power. Lee remembered the one strict condition he was supposed to abide by when using his signature technique. To protect an important person. With that, Lee disappeared and reappeared underneath Dosu, kicking him under the chin, causing him to sail through the air. Lee once again disappeared, and reappeared behind Dosu. Dosu's eyes widened in fear. This is then end. Lee wrapped his medical tape around Dosu and began spinning at an extreme rate before plummeting to the ground. Zaku knew he had to intervene or else Dosu was going to be 6 feet under. He formed a set of hand seals and plunged his hands into the ground, sending 2 raised tunnels of air-filled dirt towards where Dosu was going to land, and the twin tunnels turned into a raised mound, just as Dosu was slammed into the ground at a terrifying speed. Omote range. Lee smirked while the sound ninjas stared in awe. Dosu started to pull himself out of the mound. Lee was shocked at this. Nani, what a truly terrifying technique. I landed on a sponge of dirt and air, and it still hurt like hell. However, it's my turn now. Dosu ran at Lee, who was still recovering from the racking pain of opening the first celestial gate. Damn it, I can't dodge. Dosu aimed a punch at Lee's head, but Lee managed to block it. Or so he thought. His head started to swim. If your moves are at high speed, then ours are at the speed of sound. I'll show you a wall that no amount of hard work can surp. Lee lost his balance and fell to the ground, throwing up. Lee-san. Hey, you see, there's a little trick to my attacks. You can't just dodge them. Our attacks are made purely of sound. Even if you dodge my attack, sound will still reach you. Do you know what sound actually is? Vibrations. Exactly. Hearing sound means that your eardrum is catching the shaking of the air. And the human eardrum will break if it picks up any sounds in excess of 150 MHz. Deeper in the ear still, lies the semicircular canals. If they are damaged, you lose your balance. You won't be able to move your body for a while. Ha, lame old taijutsu won't work against us. I have to say though, you were doing well enough to force me to use a jutsu. I can freely control supersonic sound waves and air pressure to the extent that I can destroy rocks with ease. Blasting air into the dirt and creating a cushion is nothing. Our techniques are far superior to your stupid ones. Dosu raised his right arm. God damn it, why does everyone have to be right-handed? Yes, I'm a lefty, to reveal a device strapped to his forearm. Alright, your turn. Sakura readied herself. Lee, on the other hand, had other ideas. He charged in and performed a half-strength Konoha Senpu. Dosu looked on in shock. Man, don't scare me like that. Hey, although you somehow managed to move, it seems you're at your limit. I'll finish you off now. Dosu gave a sweeping right hook. Lee brought his hand up to block it. Dosu just smirked at this. This arm amplifies the small sounds produced to their ultimate level. You could say it's a speaker. However, the direction of the sound does not follow the arm. I use my chakra to make sure it reaches its intended target. The sound waves were indeed bending and aiming towards Lee's ear. When they hit the ear, Lee screamed and dropped to the ground. Dosu turned back to Sakura. Now, let's finish this. Sakura suddenly got a burst of determination. She picked out some shuriken and kunai and threw them at Dosu. I won't let you. Dosu just sighed. Oh please. Unknown to them, Ino, Shikamaru and Choji were watching from some nearby bushes. Choji was the first to speak. We should get out of here. The too strong. It seems like Naruto and Sasuke are knocked out and now it's just Sakura against those three. Even Lee's been defeated. What will you do? What do you mean, what will I do? Well, you and Sakura used to be good friends, right? Ino took a little trip down memory lane to the time when Sakura had declared that they were rivals from now on. Why am I remembering that? Hey Ino? What are we going to do? What can we do? If we go out, we'll just be defeated. Sakura had just unleashed another wave of shuriken at Dosu. However, Zaku intercepted and blasted the shuriken back at Sakura, forcing her onto the ground. Just as Sakura was about to get back up, she felt someone appear behind her and yank on her hair. Sakura turned to see the female sound nin holding onto her hair. Much glossier than mine. If you have time to take care of your hair, then train some more, you female swine. Zaku, kill Sasuke in front of her. Sakura stiffened visibly at the mention of killing Sasuke. This did not go unnoticed by the female sound nin. Don't move. Sakura began to cry. I am still. Just getting in the way. Always being protected. I can't stand it. This time I thought that I have to protect those who are important to me. Zaku began walking over to Sasuke. Now, shall we? Sakura knew this was her last chance to prove herself to Team 7. She pulled out a kunai. That won't work against me. Sakura just gave the female ninja a smirk. What are you talking about? With that, Sakura used the kunai to cut her hair, releasing her from held in place. This shocked everyone beyond belief. I always said I liked Sasuke-kun. I used to always lecture Naruto. But all I ever did was watch your backs. Now, it's time for you two to watch my back. Zaku snarled and turned to his female teammate. Kin, kill her. Kin responded by stabbing Sakura in the back with a kunai, only to find Sakura had used Kawarimi no Jutsu. Sakura reappeared and began running at Zaku, a kunai in between each finger. Pathetic. Air pressure 100%. Sound waves 0%. Blast. Sakura again used Kawarimi no Jutsu. You're fooling no one. You're above. Time to get serious. Zaku released a wave of kunai at Sakura and began looking around madly. Now, where did you go? Unfortunately for Zaku, Sakura had not used the replacement technique, and had taken the attack head-on. Zaku realized this when Sakura was about 2 meters from him. He brought his arms up to block, and Sakura stabbed his right forearm with her kunai and bit down on his left forearm. Zaku growled and began punching Sakura in the head. Let go of me. Sakura held on in grim determination, which was making Zaku pissed off. I said let go of me, god damn it. Finally, Zaku managed to dislodge Sakura from his arm and prepared for an air cutter attack. You brat. Just as Zaku was powering up his technique, Ino's team had decided to take that moment to jump in. Sakura looked up at her saviors. Ino? I said I'd never lose to you, Sakura. I already said that. HMPH. Seems some more weirdos have crawled out of the woodwork. Choji suddenly tried to scramble away. What are you two doing? We'll be killed. Shikamaru, let go of my scarf. Yeah right, idiot. It's troublesome, but since Ino jumped out, we as her teammates have to join her as well. Hey, you can run if you want. Fatty. Choji suddenly stopped his flailing. He stopped dead. Ino and Shikamaru looked on in interest. Choji said something in little more than a whisper. I'm sorry, I think you just said something, although I didn't quite hear it. Care to repeat it? Zaku looked at him in confusion. A question mark. The word fat is taboo for Choji. Say it twice and. Gathering his composure again, Zaku repeated what he said. I said you can just go jack off in the woods, fat. Choji whirled around. I'm not a fat, damn it. I'm just chubby. Horray for Chubbies. Zaku looked amused. Choju turned to his teammates with fire in his eyes that would make Lee turn even greener than he was already with envy. You two. You know this is a war between the leaf and the sound, right? Question mark. Shikamaru let go of Choji's scarf. Man, this is going to suck. That's our line. Ino called out to Sakura over her shoulder. Sakura, take care of Sasuke and Naruto. Yeah. Alright. Time for Ino team's full power. Let's go. Choji, do your thing. Okay. Biker no Jutsu. Choji suddenly turned into a giant sphere with arms, legs and a head. He drew his appendages in, and began rolling towards Zaku. Ha! What kind of a technique is thus? Question mark. It's just some fat rolling. Air cutter. The stream of air seemed to stop Choji until Choji bunched into the air, attempting to land on top of Zaku and squash him. Dosu began running at Zaku to tackle him out of the way, however, Shikamaru wasn't going to have that. Oh no you don't. Ninpu, Kijime no Jutsu. Shikamaru's shadow shot out and touched Dosu's feet, stopping him in his tracks. Shikamaru made a strange gesture with his hands, which was mirrored by Dosu. Kin screamed at her teammate. Dosu, what the hell are you doing? Question mark. Ino, now there's just the girl. Take care of my body, Shikamaru. Ninpu, Shintenshin no Jutsu. Suddenly, Kin seized up and the howl of a wolf could be heard inside everyone's minds. Ino slumped to the ground, and Shikamaru caught her and leaned her up against a tree. Kin pulled out a kunai and heeled it to her own throat. This is it. If you guys move an inch, I'll kill this Kin girl. However, the two other members of the sound team were just snickering. Zaku raised his hand and let loose an air cutter on the Ino-controlled Kin. Zaku smiled as he got up. You guys are confused. Our mission is not to get the scrolls or even to pee this exam. It's Sasuke Kin. Shikamaru's Kijime no Jutsu had drained all of his chakra. Sighing, he released it. Oh question mark. It looks like the limit for this jutsu is about 5 minutes. It also seems from the internal bleeding of your teammate, if we kill Kin, she'll die too. Then, another voice came from above them. Oi, what the hell do you think you're doing? Question mark. Everyone looked up to see Lee's teammates standing up in the tree. Zaku was the first to reply, as per normal. It seems you guys keep crawling out like roaches. Why don't you come down here and fight us? Question mark. Neji activated his Byakugan and looked at everyone before seeing Naruto and Sasuke. He looked surprised before smirking. That won't be necessary. Everyone turned to see Naruto and Sasuke stand up. Sakura was initially relieved to see her teammates up. Sasuke-kun. Naruto. Everyone by now saw that they were surrounded by an immense wave of purple chakra. When the chakra died down, they gasped to see strange markings all over their bodies. Naruto stepped forward. Sakura, who did that to you? Question mark. Sakura was more interested in what was happening to their bodies. Naruto. Your body. It's fine Sakura. I feel great. Power is flowing through me. He gave it to us. Sakura had no clue what Naruto was taking about. Sasuke filled her in. We understand now. I am an Avenger, as is Naruto. We will gain power in any way we can, even if it means selling our souls to the devil. Naruto turned to the sound ninjas. So it was you who did this, right? Question mark. Zaku got some of his confidence back. No need to be afraid of these half-dead freak, Dosu. Maximum air cutter. Zaku unleashed a major attack that cut a huge swathe through the area. Zaku panted before chuckling. I blew them to pieces. Who exactly are you talking about? Question mark. Zaku looked behind him to see Naruto and Sasuke as they put barely any effort into slamming Zaku to the ground. Naruto looked at Zaku and gave him a very sadistic smile. Let's go, Sasuke. Sure thing. Sasuke used a Kaiten, Hausenka, which Zaku extinguished with an air cutter. He realized far too late that the fireballs were actually protecting a shuriken each. These shuriken ripped into Zaku. Naruto and Sasuke took this time to body flicker behind him and each put a foot on his back while holding one of his arms. It seems you're pretty proud of these arms, Would you like us to rip them off and beat you with them? Please, stop. Naruto and Sasuke paid no attention to his pleas and broke his arms, letting him fall to the ground in a screaming heap. Naruto and Sasuke turned slowly to look at Dosu, who cowered. Please tell us you are more fun to beat up than he was. Dosu just stepped back, trying pitifully to escape them. Sakura couldn't take this anymore. These weren't the Naruto and Sasuke she knew. She charged at them and flung her arms around them, causing them to stop. Sasuke-kun. Naruto. Please stop. Slowly, their crust seals began to retreat back to the marks on their neck and they both collapsed onto the ground. Dosu sighed with relief. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun. We cannot beat you this time. I will leave our team's scroll here. It may seem convenient, but there is something we must find out. However, should we cross paths again during this exam, we will not run away. Dosu put one of his teammates over each shoulder and turned to leave. Sakura stopped him. Wait, what did Orochimaru do to Sasuke-kun and Naruto? Why to them? Dosu shook his head. I truthfully don't know. We were simply ordered to kill them. Orochimaru never mentioned anything about marking them. Dosu jumped into the trees and disappeared, leaving the Konoha ninjas to sort things out. After they had discussed things, they split off to go their separate ways. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.